Caribbean and Central America and Southern Mexico. So before we start, let me just tell you that we will have a Q&A at the end. So you are welcome, all our guests are welcome to ask questions. Raise your hand on Zoom or write down your questions, and at the end of the panel, we will answer all your questions. So without further introduction, let's start with Maria Inés Roque. Maria Inés is the training and production manager of Ambulante. Ambulante is an on-hand training program specifically for documentary filmmakers of the southern parts of Mexico, but also Central America. Maria Inés, you are a filmmaker. Hello, you're a filmmaker yourself. Would like to know first what brought you to Ambulante, why you decided to join this team and work so filmmakers from the south of Mexico can also access some tools to tell their stories.
Hi everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. It's really a great opportunity. I must say, yes, maybe I used to be a filmmaker. I don't know. I don't know what but I think that maybe what is important is not to make this big separation between being a filmmaker or being a teacher or being a producer or being a director or maybe that's why I moved into this part of the producing area, because the industry, the big industry, or the industry with a lot of money to produce a lot of big films, it's not quite accessible for everyone or for a lot of people. And that's why I moved to this area of the work, which is most like being also a producer, sometimes a director, many times a teacher, and then I became part of this ONG called Ambulante, and we start this process. Ambulante was the first time a showcase and then a festival. No, you maybe have heard about them, and my colleagues and my predecessors, and Elena Forters, and now Paulina Suarez, our general director. And I was always in this academic part. After 5 years of existing of Ambulante, we start this program called Ambulante Beyond, which is the idea is not to have like tiny workshops that works for people that it's already on the industry in a kind of way, or in a school of filmmaking, formal filmmaking school. Is really a training project for people that has no access before to the filmmaking, but has stories to tell. And that is something that comes a lot with documentary filmmaking. So we thought, and I thought myself, that it's a place for me to be, because most of all, I feel myself comfortably in the documentary or in the not so big projects. I don't mind if they're documentaries or fiction. I think it's also a kind of, my daughter used to say, a hetero way of watching the life, that let's be more fluid in a way, so I like this, another kind of projects, more independent projects. Women say independent, I don't know about how we are independent, because all need money and all depend on something, some kind of money or some type of support. So it's relative, but they are we are trying to make films not depending on hundreds of tons of lot of money to make these documents. And that means a lot of all different way of thinking. And that's something we find in Ambulante, and we thought we try to teach through Ambulante Beyond. So we have this school from already 10 years, Now we're working with the 8th generation, and we have like 170 former students. We have more than 60 short documentary, 5 or 6 feature documentaries, and we mix this like opportunity to have some money, sometimes more money to do more things, and sometimes we have to make a lab for just development of features that is we are doing right now with the pandemic. And we keep on working, but we keep on working with a segment of population that doesn't have the access to main filmmaking schools. That's what I want to say for start, and just not to have the micro for me.
Maria Inés, do you want me to show the trailer?
Yes, if you can, if you think it's a good moment. It was just visual.
Okay.
I select this one because it doesn't have many.
Okay, so I will show you the it's like the trailer of the projects that Ambulante has been working on, right? All the students that are in the training program.
Yes, this is a 2017 short of 1 minute and 20 seconds. So it's just from some documentaries and some different places.
Te invitamos a las funciones de la 4ª generación de Ambulante Más Allá. Y los ganadores de la beca Fundación Banorte Ambulante Más Allá. 9 documentales dan forma a 4 programas. Consulta nuestra programación en www.ambulante.org.
So this was just like 1.5 minutes to present some programs that we have in 2017. And we have in that moment like some money from a bank, from Banorte, a bank, and then we could produce 3 different doc shorts with gender topics, and also the school part of the production, which is important for this webinar, is that in the main program we try people to connect through their preoccupation, through their issues in life. So they became part of one team to make one short, but they decided through themselves. So it's not like an imposition, and it's not like just like, well, we have this big person, a big idea, and everybody's gonna work for you, you know. It's just like trying to make this sense of community to produce, which I think is basic, because we don't have, we have to work a big period of time, a lot of time, and we need to have good relationships between people to make these things work. I think it obviously this happens also in a feature, but Pamela, I'm sure she's gonna estará de acuerdo conmigo. She's gonna be. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Pamela, you've been working as well with a lot of filmmakers from Guatemala, trying to seek funding for them and to bridge them with other international funding. So Guatemalan movie could have a better audience, participate in the film scene in the world. Can you explain us a bit your work, how you started from very small, just with the urge of doing a movie, and how you just dive into this world until today?
Oof. Hello, everybody. It's a lot of job. It's a long way, but it's not impossible. I think, um, eh, as you know, in Guatemala, we don't have any cinema law or institute or anything. So there was a kind of regional supports like Synergia that very helps a lot, like 15 years or 10 years ago. But we start with nothing, only with the story to tell, and I think this is the best and the most important thing that you need, because if you have a very strong story, you can film it with any support like a cell phone even. So for us, because we are a generation in Guatemala, we very fight for tell our stories and film our stories. It was very difficult, but it was very full of energy. I don't know how to say, because with a friends, with it's like a community to know that we need each other, and we see the cinema as important for us for tell our own stories. It's not count the story from somebody else. It's about us, about our country, or things or issues. So it was a long way, but I think the key, it was also not only working community inside Guatemala. It's like have bridges from other countries and other people, and try to talk with everybody about our situation, our stories, and have to this intercambio. I don't know how to say.
Yeah, interchange, not interchange, is intercambio. Yeah, connecting with other people.
Exchange.
Yeah, exchange. Yes.
Exchange. Thank you.
Exchange
Thank you very much.
of points of view and modos de hacer. I'm sorry because my English.
Yeah.
So it's
How
like
do you?
huh?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's like it's very important to go to see outside and to practice inside the things that you learn and you catch and you think and do on your own way, because every country has their own way to do the things and to film and to tell the stories, because we cannot be like Mexico, for example. We are very close to Mexico and have a very good relationship with Mexico, and also I have my company in Mexico because I receive funds from Mexico and I'm co-produced with Guatemala also. But Mexico has a different thing. I think it's difficult because Mexico is very, very big, and I cannot generalize. But for example, with south of Mexico, we are have a lot of things in common, and besides the Mexico City or in the north. So I think it's very important to have these exchanges with the people, and later we apply the things that I think it's good for my country, and the things that I cannot copy or or I don't know, something like that.
Yes, it's impossible to reproduce and to have like models that you can use as making cookies, you know.
Yes, no.
But I agree with Pamela in terms of it's more important to find people that I don't mind where are they from. It's like
Yes.
like these ways of doing, ways of working, ways of communicating inside the producing process, and also in the main, in the main way of feeling what it's filming for, what it's making pictures for, you know. What do you feel about that? And I agree also that it's not, we're not talking, I'm not from the north part of Mexico. I mean, if you talk to people from Sonora or from Monterrey or from Sinaloa, now you're talking maybe with the same people that you can talk from Texas or from California. It's another culture. It's another northern culture, and it's like a frontier culture. And I feel more close to Guatemala than to Sonora in a way. I mean, in the way of producing.
Yes.
So how do you, for example, for Belize, Belize is a multiracial country with many, many cultures all together, and sometimes not so together because they all have a different way of living. Depends if you live in the city, in Belize City, or if you live in a Mayan village in the southern part of the country. Those are completely different realities. So what would be your, how could I say that? How could you share a word about that? How do we build, in a country so diverse, a way of working together, a way of finding a system or a community that can work together to achieve, your goal as a filmmaker, telling your own story?
I'm gonna start answer this question because in Guatemala it's most of the same thing. A lot of cultures in a small country and different language also. So it's difficult, and I think we now don't have a strong community. I think we're trying everything every day to have this strong community, to open the associations to everybody to participate and to have this inclusion, but it's difficult. There's still fear. The people have fear for not confidence and something like that. But I think the most important is try to connect, try to decentralizar. I don't know how to say, how to
decentralize.
To travel to the communities, to share, to listen. The first of all, listen to all these necesidades. Needs, yes, sorry. It's difficult. I think in Guatemala, I think that's why in Guatemala we don't have yet the film law, but we're trying with a lot of activities, with a lot of things to still being more and more people together, to be more strong, to say, okay, we need this film law. We are organized, we are ready to make this a lot of films, because that's the way. A lot of films in Guatemala are successful and everything, but a lot of films have the co-production, have a co-production with Europe or something like that. Strong countries have a very strong cinema laws and strong funds, and they know the way to get there. So we learn from that, but there are a lot of ways to do and to see and to do films. Sorry for my
It's true that
English.
no, it's all right. There's a lot of ways to do films. That's right. And we know we have to look inside of us to find the stories because our own perspective is unique. It's not the one that you will find if you're in Belize City and you have a strong story. Just look around you. In your own family, you will get inspired. But those stories then to be able to be told using the tools of cinema, then you need support. And there's many ways we can get support as well. And we have today, well, Sarah and Sophie that are from Locarno Open Doors, which is a program that has been made for that. It has been made so international audience could start looking at smaller countries and discover what's going on there, what they're doing, what they're dreaming about, what they're filming. So Sarah and Sophie, could you tell us a little bit more about the program Locarno Open Doors in Europe and how the program will focus on Central America, including Guatemala and Belize and the Caribbean for the next 3 years in your program? I don't know if Sarah can talk or Sophie. You're starting, Sophie?
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation. We are really excited, to join you for that discussion. It is indeed for us very important. Sarah is going to provide you with some further details about indeed what the program of Open Doors is about. I just wanted to make the connection, with what Maria and Pamela just said, the importance of building a community, locally, regionally, and, globally, because in fact, very often we think that, yes, of course, we have differences from one country to another, or even within a country already. But I think with the cinema is really a magic medium. And in fact, I think most of the time we forget already just at the level of the professional that we have much more in common than what we are thinking of. We have seen it already working with different regions over 3 years, like in Asia. We were having for example, Nepalese and Bhutanese people living to each other almost, but they didn't know, their cinematographies. They didn't know there was no circulation of films, or they were not working together. And it's true that participating in Open Doors, it brought them together, and then they realized that they could collaborate and so on. So and that they were having lots of things in common, lots of things, as you were saying, to share, to exchange. So I can only encourage that. I think especially with the times we are going through. We were talking about the independent scene, and I think in every country of the world, maybe at different level, but in a way we have, as we always say, we have to struggle because maybe we don't have the power of the money, but we have the power. The women, the men and women power. I really believe strongly in the human dimension. I think making films is a human adventure, and we are telling stories, to share them with other people. So I think we can really achieve wonderful films, working more collectively. And I think with the time we are going through, I think it really makes even more sense in the future. This sense of community and joining forces all together. So this sense of community, and as Pamela was saying, first, we will talk about it, working more with Europe, that it is a long journey. Yes, indeed, it might be a long journey because it's a kind of a jump, like for us, on Saturday we are leaving to Latin America, and of course it is also a jump for us, to immerse ourselves in the diversity of your culture, and this is the same thing for you, because we are talking about Europe, but Europe, there's so many different countries. For example, originally I'm French, now I live in Switzerland, but already, even if we are next to each other, we have lots of things in common, but we are very different too. So yes, the journey might be long, but I think we have to insist on something, because for me, I've been working on the independent scene in different capacities, as a sales agent or into co-productions, or now in festivals or training and so on. But I think this is a fascinating journey. I mean, this is such a rich experience on the personal side, you know, when you're just opening up horizons. You're growing not only as a professional, but you're growing as a person too. You know, you're discovering so many things. So I think we should insist on that. That it's a fascinating journey. Of course, there are always ups and downs, like in love stories, but there are so magic moments. I think each single person, you know, being part of this panel could tell a story, you know, a very moving one, something just unforgettable, you know. So I think we should insist on that. So anyway, I will give the voice to Sarah, but that, you know, in short, it's true that Open Door was created 19 years ago. We're going to turn already 20 next year. And the idea of Open Doors originally and still now is indeed to build a bridge, you know, between Europe and other parts of the world, as you said it very well, Katia. So it's really giving some visibility to filmmakers and stories and cultures that we think are most of the time not enough visible on the international scene. So we have two different ways of doing it. On the public side, because we show films to an audience, so we are looking for films, short films and feature-length films. Plus on the professional side with some activities. So maybe I give the voice now to Sarah to give you more details about what we can offer you.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you for inviting us. It's very nice to connect with you, even for now just online. And yeah, I wanna follow what Sophie said. You know, to give you, maybe we will not give you now all the details about what Open Doors offers, because there is a lot, and you will discover more and more. But a bit also about, you know, for continuing a bit more about the spirit, and yeah, on a more general lines, what could be for you. So as Sophie said, Open Doors is turning 20 this year. So it's an initiative that was funded a long time ago by the Locarno Film Festival. And, you know, the goal is not really just to show the works from the region, but the point is that really with this 3 years journey that we're going to do with you, we are really trying to get closer, to be working with Belize, with Guatemala, with other countries within the region, to really, you know, support the film community in all its variety. As you said before, it's not just, you know, film director, film producer, and so on, but we believe it's an environment that, you know, all the different profiles nurture themselves. So of course we focus on specific activities and programs that we can offer, but our goal is really to be as much as possible of help on so many levels. Also in our previous experience with the Southeast Asian and Mongolian region, we've seen, for instance, countries developing their film law. So we really have seen how also connecting the different countries that we work with is really helping to work together for like a more sustainable, I think we can say, community or industry. More practically, also we've spoken a lot about access, I think, accessibility. So Open Doors is true. So we are based in Europe. So in a way, what we can offer is also the connection to this international industry, the European industry. I think Pamela maybe can give more details of what can be the experience, the journey, as you said. And but it's important to say, and this may seem a bit far remote, and also the Locarno Film Festival maybe can seem like a big name, big institution, but it's important to say, and I think Sophie will agree, that we are really trying to welcome, you know, film professionals at very different stages of their career, with different approaches, different kind of stories that they're trying to tell. For instance, Sophie mentioned that we are screening some films during the Locarno Film Festival. So we really have a section of feature and short films with a specific focus every year within the region. And even for the short films that we select, we invite all the filmmakers to Locarno to really be part of our Open Doors week program, discover what it is an international festival like Locarno, meet the people there, meet the European professionals attending that maybe can somehow in the future be also potential partners for the films, and also meet the rest of the delegation of Open Doors. So other film professionals coming maybe from still like a closer reality that can be, yeah, also a different way to find collaborations. Similarly for the features. And then we have two other programs that are maybe more specifically, one is more specifically targeted at film producers that actually wanna get a bit more of a training and a networking experience, starting to look outside of the countries and the region, what it is, this experience of working with, we say mainly with Europe, but we can say internationally, or maybe also potentially with other continents like North America or so, even though it's a bit of a different system. And we also have a platform where actually it's a bit more of a formal setting where teams of directors and producers that are developing a project that is already, you know, taking shape and are actually already actively looking and finding some partners in other sides of the world from Europe. Again, can use the festival as a platform. So this is how we see it in a way. So the Locarno Film Festival can be a platform for them to really have the chance to actually introduce their project to people. They're, you know, they are actually curious and want to bring, again, maybe a different kind of stories, different kind of voices also to production and yeah, in the international film scene. And you have to think of Open Doors. So, and then there are also activities during the year. We'll speak about that later. So we have to think of Open Doors as like a hub really for the region for the next 3 years, but it can be really a meeting point from different film professionals from the region and from Europe, and they can come together, and we think this can bring positive collaborations, waves, possibilities, changes. I'm not sure, we really maybe have to go into the details of every project now, because it can be details, but as I mentioned before to Katja and to Miriam, for instance, we are happy to share with you actually all the details, and maybe you can ask questions after of what are the eligibility points, what are, how the program works, and so on. So I don't know if Sophie wants to add more maybe about the year round.
Just quickly regarding this kind of co-production forum we have, which is called The Hub. This is for feature-length films, as you said, Sarah. So this is both fiction and documentary. We even had a couple of times, animation, but it's true that very often for animation is, it might be best to go to a more specialized kind of festival, but still, we are open possibly to consider animation films. So basically we have activities in Locarno, as you have understood, completed films or curated programs of screenings. It's much more, it doesn't have to be world premiere like for the rest of the festival. We are most of the time looking for films from the last 5 years or so. And then we have, the professional activities. So this is what takes place, during Locarno Film Festival. Then we have two other dimensions. In fact, before the pandemic did hit us all, we started some online tools. So we have a web platform which is called the Toolbox, that you can already access. And it's it's a platform. It's in English, but which is full of different kind of information and so on. It's much more again targeted at how to connect, how to access, as Sarah was saying, the international scene. There are some useful information, obviously, but there's also some inspiring material. like master classes or interviews and so on. And we do also some kind of online consultancy, plus some webinars like today. You know, sometimes we have different topics we can tackle. And then what we love doing is going to the region. So after 2 years of not traveling, we're happy to be able to travel, because as Sarah said, it's not only, you know, to bridge, I mean, to bring the people, you know, to Europe. It is also to in a way at a small level, obviously, because we will be joining the region only for 3 years. It's something, but this is not that long either. So our idea is really to, as I was saying earlier, to join forces, you know, with existing initiatives. So it could be the festival, like your festival now. It could be workshops like, you know, Maria's workshop and so on. We like really collaborating with existing events. And much more also to bring this European dimension and to possibly also contribute to strengthening this, as we were saying, regional and maybe local community building. So this is the kind of 3 dimensions, you know, in Locarno, online, and on-site in the region, now that we can travel again.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. We have a question from Michael. Michael is asking, how would one learn the skills that are needed in the production process? Because you have to think that in Belize, there are no formal training in the country. We sometimes have access to one workshop or the other, but basically all the people that are filming are self-taught, or they go online, or for example, now they can go to the toolbox of the Locarno Festival, go search things and read and watch films. Do you have any tips, perhaps Maria Ines, from where to start when you have a film idea? And really in Belize, sometimes it's like, you don't know where to start. You have your phone, you have your small camera, but could we think about like joining a course in Ambulante, for example, 1 year? Or could we join other initiatives around us?
I think we are in the moment of thinking on labs that are regional. I think we have everything to do it. I mean, we have like people well trained in perfectly professionals in Guatemala, and also people that is starting in small regions in Guatemala, people that is traveling from Honduras to big festivals and doing important things, and also people that is starting. So I really there's a couple of years that I'm thinking of, dreaming on a kind of lab or a kind of organization that give us the opportunity to bring people like Michael or anybody in Belize and in other parts of the region to be connect, to make friends, people who you can work with. And I think we have to do it, and we have to forget about this idea of I don't speak English. I speak a terrible English, but I don't speak Creole, but I want to learn and I don't mind. I mean, we work with people with different languages that is not Spanish speaker from her first language, and they are big filmmakers and they're working in a kind of and this language we invent when we make movies that has a lot of English, and we can and also words we invent in this process of shooting. So I think we have to do it. I think it's important. I think we might with people like you, we can talk to knock some doors on big corporations and say, hey, you need to spend your money on these new stories. I think I also really agree a lot with Pamela with the big story is the main principal point of starting. And then we need friends to work with. friends to be with you in the process and just go and
Yes.
for it and go and do it, and also
Because,
this idea of working with people that maybe they're not thinking on cinematography as the main thing. Maybe they study administration, or maybe they study design, graphic design, but it's people that is gonna be happy to do something in a movie, and they can teach you a lot. I think this, like, thinking or not in a square way of I need to go to a film school and have somebody that is a professional on doing this, then it's impossible. If it's just one way, it's impossible. Pamela, please.
I have to add something about this question. I think I'm agree with all Marina said. Even I'm not talk English, so I have more than 15 years in making movies, and my English is. But I think there's two keys. Also, I didn't study in a film school, and now I'm later. First of all, don't be afraid of anything. I think this is the most important thing this is the principal skill to produce. So don't be afraid to knock doors, to pitch to everybody, to help with a lot of things. Second, practice. The only way to learn is practice, is do it things. So may start with short films, with a phone, with a friends, with a small group, and you can grow up. And the third thing I think important is be around, como estar rodeada, surround by people who have the same energy, not like Marina said, not the big cinematographer with 20 awards. No, maybe the accountant, it's your best friend, for example, or maybe your mother, your grandmother,
neighbor, your cousin,
yeah, everybody can make films. Everybody has this creative, these stories to tell, but only you need to practice and to be surrounded by people. Sometimes I say I'm surround people smarter than me. So I think this is the key. So, but the first is, I don't want to forget that. Don't be afraid to apply Open Doors, Ambulante and Beyond, and a lot of workshops, because speak Spanish or English or whatever, because we learn in these spaces, and these spaces are be afraid to apply. You say, okay, I'm a small country. No, but maybe they looking for that and they gonna help you. So don't be afraid. I remember, like, a lot of years ago, we are very afraid to apply to this specific work in progress with a film, very independent film, and we are selected and we are winning this whip. So it was very crazy thing, and say, okay, can be possible, but don't be afraid. Y lo voy a decir en español, la peor cosa que te pueden decir es no.
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is hearing no.
And also you learn in the work that you do to apply. You learn, you have steps in your own project when you apply, because you need to write things and to point out in the ground things, and this is like the thing you want when you apply, even if the answer is no. Sorry, I'm
Well, I wanted to say, sorry, yeah, maybe also the no is part of the process, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think I can only support all what you said, but the very basic thing, but the very important thing is really, as you said, Pamela, do not be shy. Be really self-confident. It's not because you're coming from Belize. It was the same the first year in 2016 when we started, Sarah and I, at Open Doors. We were welcoming people from Bhutan, or 3 years ago from Laos, from it's also, small countries which are not that visible also on the international scene. And I remember the first Bhutanese coming to Locarno, when we were introducing them to people, they were coming to the people and they were saying, oh, sorry, I'm just a small Bhutanese filmmaker. And I was like, but, the Tashi, what do you say sorry? What do you say small? What do you say? Come on, you're just a filmmaker and you're coming from Bhutan. And then, and everybody was like, Bhutan. It's like if you say, tomorrow, some, filmmaker coming from Belize to Locarno, this is something amazing for us, How many filmmakers from Belize are we meeting every year? None, basically. I think, Sarah, we've never had, a film from Belize being selected at the Locarno Film Festival. So, in fact, you have a big advantage. Maybe you don't know it, but I'm telling you, coming from Belize, first you have a great curiosity from the people, for example, from Europe, because we are so eager, to know what's going on there and to know more, to access stories from there, to get to know more, your various cultures, and etc., etc. So this is very important. As you said, Pamela, again, don't be afraid to connect with us. I know, as Sarah said, maybe because Locarno Film Festival is a big festivals like Cannes, Venice, etc., Berlin, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe, but you never know what can happen. And please, again, you have to remember that every single person around this table, if I can say so, we had to start. We had to do our own first steps. I've never been to any film school. I was not into film at all. I used to be a runner, so I was into sport, not at all in the film industry when I started. And I learned by doing. And there's so many people who are learning by doing, who have not been to any film school, as Pamela was saying. If you believe in yourself in a way, this is the most important, really. So don't forget about that. And compared to when I started more than 30 years ago, I'm sorry, I'm a bit older than lots of people, I'm sure, who are listening to us. There was not all those initiatives existing. There was almost no workshop, no co-production platforms. There was no internet, to have access to, as you were saying, material, documentation, inspiring things, or even tutorials, it was very difficult. Now, I mean, you have, I think, lots of possibilities. So please try to use them. We cannot do that work for you, but again, the toolbox is there, to guide you. We are listing different possibilities for you. So you have to do your homework in a way. But just to close for Open Doors, as Sarah said, even if on the professional activities, the most visible one, we work either for the Producers Lab or for the co-production platform, the Hub, from the first feature, because of course, if for feature-length projects, we are also welcoming, filmmakers with shorts in Locarno. And the young filmmakers who are coming, they have also a particular program, for the filmmakers. So this is a way, indeed, to make your first steps, to learn things, to meet people, as we were saying earlier. And you have to know that there are other colleagues of us working, and especially one person, Shuzi, who is the person, we call her like the person responsible for talent development. So it means that she's like the key contact for the talents, and she's really curious to meet, young filmmakers already at a short level. And I'm thinking that we have also Delphine Jeanneret, I think in Mexico. Some people know her because she's also teaching at the film school, and in Switzerland, and there's been exchanges. But just to say that we are different people beside us, caring for the young talents. So we're really curious to see short films and to possibly help indeed young filmmakers. I mean, on our side, much more from short to feature. But still, we can also give some kind of advice on short films, but we're much more, I think, yes, usually are much more focusing on people who are, jumping to the first feature. But there are really, I think, lots of possibilities. And Pamela, you said earlier, this is one last important thing, is that very often to access an initiative, workshop, a co-production platform or anything, you need to go through an application, this terrible application. And we know this is not easy. I mean, if you have never done it, how, can I speak about or write about myself, about my project and so on. So on the toolbox, again, we have a kind of tutorial. It's a kind of, in fact, it's a conversation between two people, Suzy. So you're going to meet Suzy online if you check it. Suzy with the artistic consultant we had for Asia, Paolo Bertolin, who is also a film programmer for Venice Film Festival. And they were talking about giving some kind of tips, how to write a strong log line or synopsis or director's note, for example. Director's note is very important. So anyway, I think there are lots of possibilities already, to start training yourself. And I think we said it very well. Then what is very important is start connecting yourself with other people in your own country, in your region, internationally. I knew nobody in the film industry 30 years ago. I knew absolutely nobody, okay? But then, and I was a very shy person. I can tell you I'm a very shy person. But then I was like, okay, what can happen to you? I mean, except, as you were saying, Pamela, that people will say, sorry, no, I'm not interested. Okay, that's it. But otherwise, I mean, you will have to be proactive and go and dare to approach people, because you will be surprised how often, in fact, the people are very welcoming and sharing people, especially on independent scene, but not only, in fact.
That is very true. Sometimes we think that we will disturb other people, but I'm sure that Maria Ines is available. I mean, if you want to continue the discussion, you can go to their website, you can reach to them, and these ladies will answer you. Same thing from Pamela. In Belize, we are very linked to the Caribbean, but the Caribbean is very expensive for us to go. You can travel up, you can travel down, but you cannot travel on this side, you need to take airplanes, airfare are expensive. So sometimes by looking at what's going on, I mean, when you can ride a bus to meet someone, on the northern border or southern border, sometimes it's easier, or in the United States as well, because we have a lot of links with the United States. So our time is up for today. Sophie, you want to add something?
Yes, maybe one or two last things. Again, no, because we're talking about the project, but also the films. Please, again, do not be afraid to send films to us, because I know that the programming team of Locarno Film Festival will be very happy, to consider both short films, because we have international competition, and feature-length films. I mean, we are aware that it costs money because we have submission fees, but because we are starting from next year, a particular focus including Belize, but you could get a waiver fee. But please contact us before if you would like to, for example, to submit a film to the Locarno Film Festival or to Open Doors. Open Doors, there is no submission fee. This is much more us inviting films, as it is a curated program. But even for international competition, please go through us. Usually the application deadline is always around May. I would say, not wait till the last minute, because we receive really up to 5,000 films almost every year in total between the short and the feature-length films. But it doesn't mean that you cannot be selected. We had like a first Burmese short film being selected 3 years ago, or, so please, I just wanted to add that is very important. Because again, I think you said it, Pamela, the importance of creating a community. And I think, for example, there are so many different countries in the world, like for a festival, when we want to discover, for example, to meet the filmmakers from Belize. Hopefully, we connected with you, Katia, and now we are here today. And I hope that we will receive, some emails and so on from people from Belize, because this is not always easy, to approach a community, filmmakers in the country. And it's true that if there is already some kind of community being created locally through associations or different kind of organization, it does help, to exist already as a community and not just single filmmakers here and there. And don't forget about that, because I think that together you are stronger. And all of a sudden, from the outside, for example, from Locarno, we are like, oh, wow, okay, there's this community or this association of filmmakers. So it means that they are really making films there in Belize. We should keep an eye on that country, And this is, for example, what is happening with Guatemala, where there is special focus at the Guadalajara Film Festival and so on. And there are more and more festivals in the world having a special attention on this country, because we have the feeling that there's really a new generation, a new wave of talents, because you have been doing all these efforts, Pamela, between the filmmakers and the producers to be more together. Voilà.
Yeah, being together is really the key of pushing our projects and our visions. So I want to thank you all for being present, and also for all our listeners. Don't forget to tune in for the next workshop if you want to learn more, because we will talk about new training opportunities for Belize. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for being there.